Hey everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in to Fit Pet Boston Talks. My name is Leah Lodato, and I'm hosting the show today with my wife, Lori Lodato. We are going to sit down together and answer some questions. So we threw it out there to our Instagram followers and some of our current clients and just said, ask us anything. So we got 8 questions. They're all really, really good questions. And we took about an hour to sit down and hash them out for you guys. So hope you enjoy. Please like, review, and subscribe to this podcast if you're into it, and we're going to keep it coming. Probably every Thursday or Friday, we're going to go ahead and ask if anyone has any questions out there, throw them out there to us, and we're going to answer them to the best of our ability. They can be dog related, they can be business related, they can be personal. We'll answer anything that we're comfortable with. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, we're rolling.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Lori.
Hi.
All right, we're here at the home studio today, recording podcast episode number, I think this is 12 or 13, I'm not sure.
Maybe.
You wouldn't know either.
I wouldn't know, but I do listen to them.
That's good. Thank you. Top fan.
Yep.
All right. So I put it out there to the universe, asked a couple of questions to some of my Instagram followers and some of Lori's Instagram followers. I think that you asked as well. And we just want to get into some dog stuff here and also some business stuff. But first of all, we were having a little conversation downstairs before we started this podcast. And I think both of us are eternally grateful at this time where we are staying home, doing nothing and being surrounded by food and treats and booze.
Mama Rose just made 8,000 oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. Not to mention Dad cooked up pasta with cream sauce and everything else that's fattening and delicious.
Yeah, so I want to do a little shout out here to our coach. You want to talk about Kelly a little bit? And I think both of us are in a better place than we would be if we hadn't started working with Kelly as far as food goes. And I know a lot of you guys are probably on social media witnessing a lot of Fitspos putting high intensity workouts on their pages or wanting us all to be doing couch exercises. But I think, neither of us are in the fitness industry, but we do both work with the same coach. And at this time in my life, I've never been so grateful for tracking macros, I think, than any other time, just because we're kind of in a free fall here. So shout out to Kelly Igo. We're super grateful to have.
And Team Mahaley.
And Team Mahaley too. Yeah, to have people behind us that are able to be supportive during this time, because I'd probably be an alcoholic by now. I don't know about you, Lori, but
yeah, I definitely tell myself not to have a drink every night. You just have so much free time on your hands. Yeah. So I'm glad I joined Team Mahaley. Well, I started working with Kelly in March, and then we joined Team Mahaley later because Kelly Igo became a coach there. And it's just nice to have as much, as they say, control your controllables. That's what Team Mahaley says all the time, Justin. So at times like this, when everything seems uncontrollable and we don't know when we're going to get back to work, none of us know when we're going to get back to work. Thankfully, some of you are still working from home. It's just nice to control a few things, because if you're not eating well, you're not taking care of yourself, or you're still not getting your steps in or exercise, you're just going to feel bad all around. So there you go, guys. As a shout out to Team Mahaley and Kelly.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for keeping us going and keeping this 35-pound weight loss off of me. I appreciate you more than you all know.
Yeah, I would think that I would be in a much more miserable state at this point in the game, being out of work for almost a week now. And, we eat really well, I think, in general, but it's also been pretty inspiring to be able to get in the kitchen. I made a new recipe last night that came out pretty awesome. And I think in general, as far as weight loss or any type of body composition change goes, maybe you can speak to this, Lori, but, exercise is 10% of the battle. The other 90% is what you put in your face. And I think having a little bit more control over what we're eating and how we're spending our time eating has been really empowering, especially during this time where both of us have just had a reduced level of activity because we have very physical jobs working with the dogs.
But you all shouldn't. We're all walking our dogs more.
We are.
It's not. I'm telling you, I'm trying to get in a million walks a day. The dogs are dying.
Yeah, Ruben's.
We had to take a day off. It was
totally
bad. They're like,
right now.
they can't. We go for every time I take the leash out. They're like, we're excited, but we want to die.
Yeah.
But it's a good time to work on obedience as well. So get on it.
Yeah, this is a really eye-opening time for us and hopefully our clients out there. If you're listening, please keep working with your dogs. I want to be able to get back to work soon and be able to see all the progress that you've been making during this time. So please keep it up and be in touch. And I'm very, very excited to hear from almost all of my clients that I haven't seen. So thank you guys for following through and also for listening if you're listening right now.
I've been grateful for all the texts too that I get of people teaching their dogs new tricks and just checking in on us and seeing how we're doing and reminding us how much they care about us. So I've got a lot of those texts and they make me feel a lot better. So thanks everyone.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just feel as though we have such an amazing client base. I truly am. Brings a tear to my eye sometimes just thinking about it. And so thank you guys so much. And
yeah, especially when literally my whole life every day is working and I knew that, but wow, am I ever aware of it now? I'm like, I keep saying to you, Leah, like I entered some weird vortex. I'm like in a black hole. I have no idea what's happening. This is like not of my choice. It's not like, oh, Lori finally took a day off after 5 years. It's like unreal. So anyway.
It's wild. I know everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's in the same boat. It doesn't matter what you do. Even if you're still working and you're working from home, I know that it's been a huge adjustment for just about everybody. So we're all in it together. And definitely don't want to dwell too much on the negatives. I just hope everybody is staying healthy and safe out there. And if you need us, call us. We're doing training remotely through Google, Zoom, WhatsApp, FaceTime. And I was super psyched to get a bunch of videos from clients over the past couple of days, just showing me what they've been working on. And I'm thankful for that as well. So if there was ever a time to be stuck inside, 2020 is it, because we have pretty much every bit of technology at our fingertips. And thus far, that hasn't been impacted at all by this disaster. So, all right. So
screw you, Corona.
Yeah, screw you, Corona. Boo.
The bat you came in on. Yeah. You rat bastard.
Seriously. Oh my God. Okay. All right. I want to get into this. We have we got 8 questions to go through today, and thank you all for submitting them. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this before, throwing it out there to social media. And we didn't throw it out to our customers. You didn't like text anybody, or I just put it on Instagram.
No, but if they text me, we have one emailed question from one of my customers.
Okay, cool.
I'm sure we could toss it out there and everyone would have plenty of time to read the email and send me questions.
Right.
So,
okay. So the first question is a combination of that question you got from one of your customers and at Andy Sucamp from Instagram. What is the best way to clean your dog's teeth and how often should you do it? And then to elaborate, your customer also added, why does my dog have bad breath and how can I clean their teeth?
As far as the bad breath, so I know she has a puppy, so it's the time that his teeth will be falling out. So the first thing I asked her was, he's most likely losing his teeth, and that's why his breath is so rank right now.
Yeah.
So,
it's like there's blood that comes out, and you know how like when you floss your teeth and blood comes out, you like feel like you're at the dentist and you want to die and it tastes terrible. It's the same thing that's going on with your pup.
The first thing I tell them is check your dog's mouth and make sure they don't have any sticks stuck in their teeth, because that also causes bleeding. And if it's in there for so long, you don't realize this created an abscess, and the infection is what is making the smell so bad. So once we got past the part of the dog doesn't have anything crammed inside of his teeth, I remembered that it's a young puppy, and puppies start teething around 4 months of age. It's usually 4 months to go through the whole process. And by 7 to 8 months, your puppy should have all of his teeth in. And I do recommend freezing some of their favorite chew toys so that they can, I think the cold helps relieve some of because when we have a toothache, all we want to do is bite down on something. So I put everything in the freezer and I let them chew on really cold toys. So make sure there's nothing in the dog's mouth causing an infection. I remember the reason I say that is because I found a stick stuck in the roof of a dog's mouth. Oh, it was disgusting. I was working at a kennel at the time, and thankfully we were able to pry it out and rinse it out without going to the vet. But, yep.
And about cleaning the teeth, too.
Oh, yeah. I love the, I wrote it down so I could remember. I like a 3-sided toothbrush for my dog's teeth. And Fresh and Breath puts something out, and it's called Fresh and Breath Triple Flex. It has 3 sides to the toothbrush, and I like the way it fits around Buddha's teeth. So I do brush Buddha's teeth. I didn't do it with my other dogs because they hated it, but he seems to like it, so I keep doing it. He's like,
maybe he likes the way the toothpaste tastes.
I think he likes the toothpaste. Like bring the toothbrush out, put peanut butter on it at first, let the dog taste it with the, to get them used to having this toothbrush in their mouth. I know you're not cleaning them, it's fine. Just put a treat on there, let them have it in their mouth, let them get used to it, and then start brushing away. So praise and treats and introduce it nicely to just,
So with our dogs, you introduced a toothbrush when they were puppies, and you have taken care of most of the dental hygiene for both Reuben and Buddha, and Reuben chews quite a bit on hard bone. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that can kind of reduce tartar and things like that if they're bone chewers?
I'm not a vet, so I don't. But as far as
it was like common sense, right?
As far as chewing on hard items, I could break down plaque and things like that. So I always recommend a dog chew on some hard things,
right?
Antlers, nylon bones. They have all these kind of toy toothbrush things that help get in the crevices of your dog's teeth. But
what do you think about greenies? We don't feed greenies, but what do you think about them? Just in general, the little green.
I think that dogs love them, but I personally don't like to feed them because they were recalled way back in the day when I started dog training. And so anytime something is recalled, I'm a little weary to use it. And some dogs poop them out whole. And some of them, there was a question about the digestion of them. So while I think some dogs do really well with it, I think some don't. And I just choose not to use them. But I have nothing against them.
Yeah, I know some of the dogs that I walk that eat greenies, their poop is just like green.
They love them,
like
though.
They're not even breaking down whatever. It's either the dye that they put in them or the whatever is in there.
But we don't know.
We don't know,
So we can't judge it.
We just don't feed them.
I just don't feed them, because that one negative experience, I
know you are a stickler for recalls because there are quite a few products I won't mention, but you are like no bad recalled and you just write it right off.
Yeah, I'm too worried about. I can't. Anything that would harm my dogs, I get crazy about.
Yeah,
and any kind of question I have in my head, I won't give it to anyone else's dog either. Like sometimes people will come in, I give this treat to my dog when we're at home, but nope. If I don't give it, then I won't do it here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why risk it?
Yeah, I don't want to risk it.
All right.
But as far as how often, I don't know. I do it once every 2 weeks, but I don't know what the vet recommendation is for brushing your dog's teeth.
I think it depends on the dog too. Like
I suppose I could look it up.
Have like nice white teeth, and then as the dogs get older, I feel like the tartar builds up just like it does with us.
Oh man, some teeth are nasty. I mean, and that's why they smell, guys. Like sometimes it's not just something's in their mouth or they're teething. These dogs have nasty teeth. I really think that you should feed some kind of a hard dog food too, for them to crunch on, not just a bunch of soft food.
Right. Do you feel like there's a genetic element as well?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've seen dogs whose mothers had really bad teeth, and it just went right onto the kids. Or the mom had super bad ear infections, and lo and behold, her kids have ear infections.
Right.
A poodle is one dog that comes to mind. Dachshunds, sometimes they can have some tough breath. I love dachshunds and poodles, everyone. I'm not.
You don't have to put a disclaimer.
I feel like I have to, don't you?
You don't.
Oh, God.
You absolutely
I'm going to
don't.
get hate mail.
You're not going to get any.
You don't love my poodle?
Yeah, no, that's not.
I
and
love
if it
your
does
poodle
happen,
more than
we're
your
gonna have
doodle.
we're going to have a good laugh. All right. Question number 2 comes from @NatForsyth or nForsyth, my sister. Why does my dog roll in the dead lawn?
Because they love to smell bad.
Yeah.
Next. The first thing you do, you give your dog a bath, you let them outside to pee, and they're like, woo!
They roll in the smelly.
They roll in it. They're like, oh, I'm beautiful now.
I know. Sometimes I hear people say they roll because they wanted to spread their scent, but I don't believe that because I feel like they would be rolling a lot more than they do. My dogs tend to roll when they want to get a crappy smell on them.
Yeah, like a good back scratch.
Yeah. Buddha loves a good back scratch.
I think it's a private moment with a dog, and you have to let them do it.
And I also feel like we don't necessarily know enough about dog behavior to make one of those type of educated. Like, for example, a dog will kick dirt on to cover up its poop when it goes to the bathroom sometimes.
They kick dirt to spread their scent.
Right, but it's not like sometimes they're so far away from their scent that like it's not even making a connection. You know what I mean?
They're just tippy tapping away.
Yeah, exactly. It's just this kind of like neurological impulse that they have, but it's not really very well refined. Whereas like if it's
not refined.
It's not refined at all. Because like Ruben will spread his scent, and his scent is like
he's like,
far away
this reached 100 feet today.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, like maybe you have some spidey sense that I don't know about, but you're way off of your scent.
He's like, dogs can smell it, ma.
Whereas, if you watch him, I was watching him yesterday run, and because I've been sitting on the doghouse in the dog yard lately, just watching them, which is something I've never done before. I remember you got an email once when you were working with an aggressive dog, and it was an email to Steve, and Steve's message back to you was like, oh, I just put him in the yard and just watch the dog all day, like interact. And I thought to myself, like, wow, what a boring day that would be. And the past couple of days I was able to sit on the doghouse and just like watch the dogs. And it really, I'm kind of getting into that idea of just observing them. Anyway, I was watching Ruben run up to Buddha, and just the amount of control that he had over his speed and over the way that he interacted with the terrain, like, is so accurate. And there's just not any missteps. So he can, and when he makes himself his little nest bed at nighttime and then like lays down in it, and there was like a plan in his head the whole time how he was going to arrange the blanket and how his shoulder was going to lay on it. There are some things that he does that are just so absolutely accurate, and then they do other things like kick an invisible scent. Or
I love watching parents, because there's more people walking their dogs every day, and watching parents go to pick up their dog's poop, and then they kick the dirt in their face.
They kick the dirt right in their face or on their pants.
Well, Dr. Ian Dunbar, I went to a seminar with Dr. Ian Dunbar, and he said, where else in the world can I get paid and drink beer for watching? He was talking about watching a litter of beagles, specific. He goes, where else but America can I get paid to drink beers and watch dog behavior and literally record how they went to the bathroom, if they lifted their leg, if they leaned with it, rocked with it, if who was the dog that was more, going after the other dogs or eating all the food, or, and then when one dog died off, who took over. So I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, it's just so we don't take the time to do these observations and have a clear mind and be able to see.
Well, when you have free time, you find yourself on top of the doghouse.
Yeah, you just got to stay off
watching
of that.
Ruben kick.
Stay off of that Netflix, man. You got to stay off of the Tiger
or
King.
Nextflit, as Rosa calls it. Mama Rose calls it.
Oh my gosh! All right, we'll do another question from Andrea. She had some good ones. All right, where can we walk our dogs with no crowds? Horn Pond is like the mall on Black Friday. So just to give
every
those
pond.
of you, so those of you that don't know the context of where we're talking about, we live close to a very small body of water that I believe was used for drinking water at one time. Was Horn Pond ever used for drinking water?
It was in a movie.
There's a bunch of things that used to happen at Horn Pond that don't happen anymore. There was a ski lift
We
there.
don't talk about it anymore.
There was some water contamination, I think, back in the 80s that they made a movie about. But anyway, there are paved roads around Horn Pond. I think it's a little less than 2 miles. I want to say maybe like 1.5 miles or so around. And then there's a network of trails on the northwestern side of the pond. And yeah, just with everybody being out and about and literally having nothing to do aside from exploring nature, the trails are pretty busy. So to address the question head on, what we've been doing, since we have absolutely no time limits or restrictions right now, is we tend to head out around 6:15 or 6:30 and spend about an hour
when everybody's having dinner.
Yeah, when everybody's having dinner, they've already been out already. And
everybody's sleeping in. So you have to go super early or super late. And if you're going really late and it's dark out and you don't have a huge dog, make sure you just go with somebody you know. So
yeah, and
somebody you've been quarantined with.
Yeah, and there's 2 considerations with that. So first of all, the sun sets at like 7:10. I think last night it was like 7:06 or something like that. So it's going to get pushed back.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was very
sun
nice.
was still out. We were walking at 7, like you said, 7:06, something like that.
Yep. There's 2 considerations. The first is people, and then the second is animals, for me anyway. And I guess the third would be other dogs, but, that's not really a part of, that's not going to restrict us from going out at night. So if you go out in the evening or at dawn, we have animals and we have other people. So I would, if you're by yourself and just your dog, I would carry some type of spray or mace. And that is true to be used for people or animals. And with social distancing, if you're approaching somebody and they're too close to you and you step aside and they don't, you can read body language a lot better now. I feel like that we're forced to kind of have this distance between us. So keep your distance from other people. And if somebody's being threatening, carry something to deter them from coming closer to you. And the same is true for animals. And I would say with the woods being so crowded, the coyotes have definitely taken a step back, I think, from being close to people, because I remember in the wintertime, it didn't matter if I was in there day or night. Either I saw coyotes or the photographers that were out and about would warn me that they had seen them. But I think right now, because we're so deep into their habitat, they have retreated. And at this point, all of my customers, because I do a lot of off-leash hiking and training, all of my customers have asked me, what about the coyotes? And I've just, before this whole COVID-19 thing happened and people were still leaving the woods relatively untouched or, just moderately populated, I would tell people, it's not going to affect the way that I live my life, the fact that there are coyotes. I have to hike with my dogs. And
keep your dog within distance. Yeah, I'm a stickler for that.
Yeah, so
I don't
want to keep
I don't
your
like
dog,
them more than, if I can't see you, you're too far away from me.
Right.
Especially if you're going up a hill, I don't want the dog that far away from me. So
right, so you can keep eyes on them, and having spray, having good recall on your dog. Also, dogs know when they see a coyote versus when they see another dog. I've experienced this multiple times where I've been walking either my own dogs or a client's dog, and we've seen a coyote at a distance, and your dog is not going to screw with the coyote unless you have some sort of really different type of dog. Every single dog that I've had has frozen and then reacted. So, it's given me a minute to either recall them back, get them on the leash, change direction, do whatever I needed to do. And most of the time I just change direction. I just get the heck away from the animal. But I haven't seen a coyote since this whole outbreak happened. And I also haven't heard anybody on the trail say, hey, you might want to leash up your dogs. There's a coyote up ahead. And in the winter, it was ridiculous. There were coyotes everywhere. But, it just doesn't bother me. And then the third thing that I would say, or the second thing, so the first thing is just picking the time of day you're going out.
Super early
or in the evening.
Kind of late.
I would also...
Dinner time and lunchtime.
Yes.
When people are eating, go. I mean, now it's usually all day, but
yeah.
like,
It's an
but
all-day
like
binge, like
breakfast,
people are
lunch, and dinner. People aren't
eating
waking
on
up.
the trail.
Yeah, nobody's getting up before 7 a.m. right now and walking, except for our dear friend who's walking her dog super early in the morning because she wants to stay away from people. I don't blame her.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and we've kind of adjusted we're normally very early. We go to bed very early, and now that we've been walking later in the day, we eat dinner later and go to bed later and get a start later because we have we got
have
nothing
time.
going on.
Just hanging with our dogs,
hanging out.
And I'm keep up with their obedience, gets them tired as well, so you don't have to think about, oh my God, the only exercise they're going to get is walking. And I love my afternoon super busy city walk where I go to, I'm walking along really busy roads and where no one else wants to walk their dog. And I get my 3 miles in. Yep. And then I don't have to worry about people, and I don't have to worry about, it literally does look like Black Friday at the mall, at the pond right now, or any popular walking path in the city. So walk on the road, guys.
Yeah, walk on the road.
And you'll force your dog you'll end up having to work on your healing. So.
The other thing that I would say, so there are two other things I wanted to say about this one. If you have good obedience on your dog, bring them to a field that's not fenced in and play ball with them. So we did a ride up to
a field you're allowed at.
Yeah, a field, obviously. Yeah, because we don't have to make disclaimers every other second.
No, it's true. Every field has a no dogs allowed sign.
In Woburn, yeah, they hate dogs in Woburn.
So keep your dogs in good places.
So where
dog
you can bring your
owners
dog,
don't get a bad rap.
Bring your dog, but here's the thing: 90% of dog owners don't have the obedience to let their dogs run in a field. So if you have a dog that loves to play fetch and you're able to drive them somewhere or walk them somewhere where they can do so in a nice open area, do that. And the third thing that I was going to say about woods walking is be a little bit more adventurous than you would maybe ever be. So even at the pond or in the fells or anywhere around here or elsewhere, a lot of the trails aren't going to be marked. So maybe if somebody blaze their own trail, there's going to be less traffic in those areas. So bring your cell phone, download an app that's going to tell you where you are or what trails you're on, or even just regular old GPS will give you a pretty accurate location if you have good cell service. And I think the Fells has good cell service everywhere. So be a little bit adventurous. Go off the beaten path. Don't be afraid to get lost and charge up your phone and go for it. There's plenty of space. Another thing I learned just from mountain biking too is know your not limitations, but know the things that are on the outside of the trails that you're on. So for example, like Burlington Landlocked Forest up in Burlington, they call it landlocked because there's highway on both sides and there's also power lines too. So you have 3 points of reference, right? You have Route 3, you have Route 95, and then you have power lines. So you can't really get that lost. So just kind of giving yourself a little bit of a benchmark to, you can hear traffic, you can see power lines with your cell phone. You should be in pretty good shape to find some place where you're not completely overrun. And then you can also drive. So if you live, we live in the 95 belt and it's just populated in this area. So, maybe taking a hour drive out to some place where that there's just gonna be less people, less traffic. It'll give you something to do and a new place to explore. And maybe you'll have a little less people and dogs to contend with. So
one of my customers mentioned the All Trails app to me.
Oh, yes.
She likes it. All Trails.
Yeah, so she used that up in Whipple Hill because none of the trails are marked. And she said that kept her on.
Yeah, she said she loves it.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so I hope that helps. Those of you guys that are not super adventurous, I don't expect you to just change the way that you are, but I think those of you that have a little bit of, have a little bit of willingness to try new things, I think it's a good opportunity for everybody. I know a lot of mountain bikers are just totally bitching right now because everybody's out on the trail, but too bad.
A lot of beaches are closed too. So if you're going to do a lengthy drive somewhere, you might want to call because it's not listed on the website. It'll say the beach hours are open, dogs are allowed during a particular time, but when you get there, no dogs were allowed. So
Yeah, we buzzed up to Cranes Beach last Sunday and they were closed. And then we just drove the 15 minutes over to Good Harbor and ran the dogs there. But that was disappointing because we did visit the website and make sure that they were open.
And it was packed with dogs and people, so you need a good recall on your dog.
Yes, absolutely. It was funny. We were at the beach last Sunday and I was like, man, I know these dogs' names by heart because their owners keep screaming for them and they're not coming.
I knew every dog's name. I was like, here comes Millie.
Here comes Hank.
She doesn't give a shit about her parents.
Yeah.
She's like, woo, we're at the beach. She's like, you're a handsome Rottweiler. Ooh.
I know, it's funny.
Come on, baby.
There's a golden retriever. She had a do not pet. Yeah, but she like wasn't with her owner the whole time. She just go along with random people. Like, of course she's gonna get pet. So it was really interesting. Band-Aid on a broken leg there. Okay.
It's tough.
All right, we have a question from Danielle Fowler. How do Ruben and Buddha react when you first put the T-Rex costume on?
Oh. Well, the first time wasn't pretty. With Buddha didn't care. Ruben cared very much. He expressed his anal gland, which it's always wonderful when that happens. So we made sure the next time we put the T-Rex costume on, it was kind of outside, and we took, we hung out with the dogs who were tolerant of it. And then this time I was determined that Ruben wouldn't hate it because I love to walk around in that thing. So I was putting it on. It wasn't blown up or anything. So I put on my little T-Rex feet. And then I was like, hey guys, it's me. I threw a ton of cookies down. So my feet are in, and then I start to zip it up, and I'm still throwing cookies at Ruben, and then I just kept talking to him the entire time. Some dogs take to it super, just not well at all. They don't take well to it. They get nervous. They freak out because it's this huge, the head kind of you've seen the T-Rex races online. So, nope, we did it this time. Mr. Ruben showed up.
Yeah, I was really proud of him.
Yeah, put it in. You don't want to put it on and creep out of a corner. Come around the corner and just scare the crap out of the dog. Because I wanted to walk the streets with Buddha in my T-Rex costume. Everybody has training goals. That's my training goal for, one of my training goals this time around.
Yeah, I have a unicorn costume coming. So I think we're gonna do a pack walk. We're gonna do a loose leash pack walk.
Loose leash unicorn wearing T-Rex walk.
Yes, wearing the T-Rex.
Because you should challenge yourself.
You really should.
My treat delivery might be rough because the arm.
I don't think there's going to be any treat delivery.
It's like little dachshund arms. Yeah. I can't feed as much as I'd want to.
Yeah, I think the key was just putting the costume on.
Slowly
in the room.
feeding.
They were completely 100% fine.
Yeah, I did throw myself on the ground in the suit. One of the times I wore it when I had a bunch of school dogs around. I was like a dead T-Rex, not moving, so that they could check me out. So that helps too. Just don't be crazy. Just don't slap it on and go to town.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, it just has so many humanistic qualities to it that aren't really, it has this like big butt. And if you just shake, or if you just
we don't have a big butt.
But if you just stand there and shake, it's just so realistic. And then the head is this huge bobblehead, and your head isn't anywhere near the top of it. It's
a temperament test.
Yeah,
I'm sure they would do that at official trials. Send in the T-Rex.
We can make our own trial.
Bring them in.
The T-Rex trial.
I know, they'd be like, this place is a hoax. Oh, it's the Lori and Leah test.
Oh, it's like in between a
tried and true
and a dog trial.
Go figure though. If you had a dog, if you're gonna adopt a dog, you can be like, listen, they passed the T-Rex test.
They passed the sociability test.
Yeah, they didn't care. They walked right up to the T-Rex. They're like, hey, how are you doing? Or you could say, oh, I tried to kill the T-Rex. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, my father-in-law loves
like old country.
No, that
what is
this? That old country?
I don't know.
No, that's evangelicalism right there.
That's some holy?
Yeah, that's some holy stuff.
We need some holy right about now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Question number 5. Asked by Community K9 Boston, my good friend Michaela.
We're gonna hit up the plant thing?
Yeah, it's coming.
All right.
She asks, and if you don't follow Michaela, please do. She posts some really awesome content on Instagram, and she does it all for free. And she has a lot of experience training dogs, training aggressive dogs, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But she asked, what is the difference between training Reuben and Buddha? Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have 2 dogs. We have Reuben and Buddha. They're both the same age. They're 2. We got Reuben from rescue as a puppy, 12-week-old puppy, in December of 2017. So it was during that, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was super, super cold out there. We had a cold snap that lasted pretty much the whole month of December. And then Buddha came in March. He was 7 weeks old. And, springtime. So, and I only mentioned the weather in terms of like our ability to socialize them. So with both, despite the fact that it wasn't an ideal situation, we got it done 100%. We did absolutely everything we were supposed to do. And I will say that there, from puppies, there really wasn't a huge difference between the way that we raised Reuben and Buddha. So Reuben is a small mixed breed dog. Buddha is a bred Rottweiler from a really reputable breeder. And there was really no difference from the way that we raised them as far as training goes when they were puppies. We make them work for their food. Yeah, we do a lot of obedience training with puppies. And I feel like these days that's kind of a divided issue. So if you want to talk dog training for a minute, Laurie puts a lot of obedience on puppies when we get them.
As soon as I can.
Yeah, as soon as we can. And that's how we train in classes too. And I feel as though there's been a little bit of a shift with people that I know, and people that I follow on social media, to delay the obedience training and to do a lot more play with the dogs and confidence building and things of that nature with puppies. And I just wanted to say that we do all the play as well. So we, play
I think
tug,
it's nice
play
to have
ball.
a mix.
Yep, play tug, play ball. And we do all that. We did both with Reuben and Buddha. They were really reared in the same way as far as, crate training, basic obedience as puppies. Really with puppies, it's all about household management, potty training, not encouraging any behaviors that you're not looking for, and socializing and play. So there wasn't a huge difference between the way we raised them as puppies. And then once, they, I want to say, grow up a little bit, they show what their strengths and weaknesses are. And that's where I think I'll let you take over with the training that they're currently doing and how they're interacting with us in that way.
And then we just cater to those differences. But I thought Reuben and I were super close because you were working at the restaurant at the time. So you were working late nights. So I had him, because it was so cold, you couldn't bring him in your van as you had anticipated. Back in the day, we would all take our dogs in the car to travel with us all the time, and nobody would say anything, but that's not the way the world works now. I loved taking my dog everywhere. And anyway, I hate that that's how it is now. And we all made sure we had car starters and our car was the right temperature, and of course we weren't bringing the dog out during the heat, whatever. Anyway, so I was with Reuben really like at night, super early in the mornings. I would try to get his energy out. He had really high food drive, so he was super easy to train. He was always willing to have a good time. He was really great. We were really close. And then as time went on, Reuben and I were not as close. But I remember like teaching him to go to his safe place. So he would like walk up a step and then walk on top of his crate to go to his bed. He knew his sits and his downs. He was really great. And I think your bonding came with him when you started walking with him in the woods. And then he definitely took to you more. And then your work changed for you. So you were home more, and then you were able to take over and you did all that. I made sure I brought him to as many stores as I could, but it was freezing. Same thing with Buddha. Buddha had no food drive. He was terrible to train, and he hated his crate. He was the worst. I remember going out with another Rottweiler, from a customer. So Melissa, who did a podcast with you, she was working with me, and he had a little bit of an edge on him. So he would be a little bit more reactive when, say...
You're talking about the other dog.
Yeah, the other... Yeah. So we had 2 rots. I had Buddha, and then we had the other guy. And he had such food drive and such focus that Melissa could stay out there for 15 minutes working on the pay attention exercise, him greeting people. I had maybe 3 to 5 minutes with Buddha, and it wasn't glorious. Like, I would have to stay far away. He was just like the Tasmanian devil at the end of the leash. And I just stuck to my guns. I realized my sweet spots and training times that he would actually eat. I still went to stores and I stood far away until I could get him under control, because he was just like biting all the time at the end of the leash, like ready for play. You know how puppies do the puppy whirlies out in the grass and you're like, they've been taken over? He would just do that at the leash. So I just stuck with it. There were days he wasn't hungry, and I got to tell you, I really withheld food. I waited. His like glory time for training was nighttime. So much different from Ruben. It was a breeze doing basic obedience with Ruben and leash walking versus that with Boo. But once Boo got it, we were on point. I remember we had some really good training session as puppies. I have a picture of me and him downstairs, and he's just sitting right at my left side staring up at me, this little fuzzball thing. But no, that was the main difference. Nothing really phases Buddha. He's calm. He's just a calm guy. Ruben's a little bit more saucy. There's nothing wrong with either one of them, but...
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to segue into, what we're doing now. So, so training is twofold, right? There's just basic household management, behaviors, well, maybe threefold. Basic household management and the behavior in the house. Then there's like formal training. Then I feel like there's managing problems and reactivity. So as far as household management, things like that are concerned, they're both the same. We treated them the same way. We continue to have the same expectations of them. As far as personality and reactivity, Ruben is just a little bit more of a reactive dog. He is more nervous. He's less comfortable in strange situations. He does poorly for the first... I want to say 10 or 15 minutes when we're in the training room. So if we go to a class, it takes him a while to settle in. He doesn't like being touched by strangers.
So good.
For those reasons, Buddha is a therapy dog. Laurie got the TDI title for him on March 6th, right before all of this.
We passed the test portion, the training test portion.
Right. They passed the training test portion. And I really want you guys to hear this, what I'm going to say. I could not do that test with Ruben and trust him as a therapy dog. He just doesn't have the genetic capability to do it. It's not that I don't want to do anything with him. It's not that he doesn't enjoy his life. It's not that I've messed up. It's just that he's not comfortable in that situation. And, I was watching a Facebook Live video of a pretty famous trainer. And one of the things that he said really struck me, and it said, I can teach my dog to do all the basic obedience, but the question is, does he want to do it? And figuring out, what those thresholds are for your dog are so important. And one of the things that I learned about Ruben is like, I might want to do competition obedience with Ruben, but he's not really cut out for it. He does really well doing rally. And he works really well for me. And he is a trick dog. Like when he gets in the zone of, either learning or executing tricks, man, he's fast.
Yeah,
and
he gets
he's
excited.
Focused and he's excited. But, doing things where he needs to be very stable, like, a competition obedience or therapy dog work or whatever, it's just not in the cards for him. So that's a big difference between what I do with Ruben and what Laurie is able to do with Buddha. And they both got the same treatment. Neither is better than the other. It's just figuring out what your dog's strengths are and then focusing on those strengths instead of You know, and obviously like working on your weaknesses is important, but again, it's square peg round hole. I'm not going to make Ruben go through the therapy dog program knowing full well that it makes him seriously uncomfortable.
TDI's test is pretty
It's extreme.
tough.
Yeah, it's extreme. This is like real therapy dog test, not like, you know, I'm going to throw a red cape over my dog and call him my emotional support dog. This is,
It's like patients screaming, hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Kids playing ball, throwing it across the room.
Yeah, food
Chicken nuggets and hamburgers, like
floor,
on
you
the.
have to refuse the food.
Yeah, the patient handing your dog off food. Just really so much noise. Crutches. I think Buddha got a cane dropped on him during the healing portion of walking through a quote unquote hospital scene. And the woman running the test goes, "Did you see the cane hit him?" I go, "I didn't see anything. I kept my eyes on the dog the whole time."
Right.
But he did,
He did well.
He was a psycho puppy, and God bless him.
Yeah. Well, you said it. Once he learned something.
Glad I stuck with it.
He knows it. Yeah, he ripped his teeth out on the crate.
Yeah, when he was a puppy, he was so pissed off in the crate all the time. He would just scream and scream. I got that dog that had the heating pack in it in the heartbeat. That was like a miracle.
The snuggle puppy.
I threw it in there, and his little fat, furry body laid right on top of the dog, which he was the size of the dog at that point. And he started to snore, and I thank God for all the things that were I was like a mother who was stressed out with her kid, and then he would clutch onto the cage, and one day he went to pull his head back, his little itty-bitty head, and ripped his baby tooth out. I was like, this dog is a psycho. And I was perfectly prepared to have a crazy pants Rottweiler, but it was just a tough growing phase.
Yeah, because
then he was cool.
He just is so well. He's really gentle, and then when he also
he's super gentle,
has to do something, more aggressive. We go to not often as we should, but we go to protection work training. He comes out and he's
ready to go.
He absolutely loves going there and working with somebody, with the decoy and learning in that way. And you can kind of see the confusion sometimes in his mind, like when he was first like learning, and now even he's like, what am I supposed to do? And then once he gets it, he just is in his glory, is in his element. He just absolutely loves it.
And for your dog at home, that might be playing tug. Like I always say, it's nice to give your dog a chance to get their dog on. And Ruben, he gets his dog on when he's in the woods. He's so happy, and he's flying and he's jumping everywhere. And that's when I feel most happy for Ruben, or when I put him into a burrito bed, because he's just so happy either running in the woods, playing ball. I mean, that's...
Yeah, his ball drive is so high. But one thing I will say about Ruben is it took us a while to kind of put the punctuation on fetch. He now loves to play fetch with me. If it's a game that he plays with me. But the joy when he runs after the ball, It's like nothing I've ever seen before. It's so great.
I love it. I love seeing dogs like unwind.
Yep. But the thing about Ruben is if there's another dog there, the competition between him and the other dog is stronger than his willingness to play with me. So I, have a much better, more productive playtime with him when it's one-on-one. I have other dogs like Murphy, for example. He doesn't care if there's another dog. If I have Murphy and Olive at the field, they're two labs. If I have Murphy and Olive at the fields and I'm playing fetch with them, I have one toy for each of them. And they're both so focused on their toy that they don't even bother with each other. Occasionally they will, of course, but when the rhythm of the game is going on, they're really into playing with their toy. With Ruben, if another dog is there, he's more interested in egging the other dog on to chase him around the field while he's holding the ball. He will get a group of like 8 or 9 dogs to just run around him, chasing him for the ball. And
it works there.
Yeah, and it's far more rewarding for him to do that than to play with me. So, there's a difference there between dogs and how they play. And when I'm one-on-one with him, man, he is like a Ferrari just playing fetch, and he will let me know that he's tired by just flopping down on his back, but he'll still play with me. even after he's super tired. So those little things, I know that, they're not formal training. Walking your dogs in the woods off leash is not formal training for some people. They think of training as like some sort of competition or, obedience training. But it is. And especially now that we're in this situation where we have to be so alert to more people, more dogs on the trail and things like that. It's a great opportunity to work on training
and how great it's been in the woods.
Yep.
Talk about training. People are pulling over to the side and having their dog has to hold a behavior. Maybe it's a stand, maybe it's a sit, and they stay out of your way. All of a sudden, dog manners are back in style because you can't have your dog running down the path because it is suggested that we don't let other people pet our dogs because then their germs are transferred to the fur, and we really just don't know how what easily transferred this coronavirus is. So everybody's manners are so much better. People see another dog, they immediately put the leash on, and they walk over to the side. I think it's formal training. I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they're on it.
And also with our dogs, we see them now when they see people, they just kind of start going over to the side automatically. They're not even...
Yeah, this is automatic socialization.
Yeah.
Dogs are getting so used to traffic. It's great. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. So.
I agree. Thank you, Michaela, for that question. Nothing like talking about your own dogs. It's awesome. Okay. Question 6 is by @Boston Real Estate. It's my friend Patrick. Awesome guy. Please follow him on Instagram. Patrick probably has some of the most entertaining Instagram stories having to do with real estate. And, I watch them and at the end, I'm like, I don't even know why I watched this, but he's just such an eccentric, exuberant person that he's just a love and very engaging, wonderful person. Him and his wife and their dog Daisy is gorgeous and she's a sweetheart. So I'm sure they're happy to be spending more time with her, even though everything's going to shit. So anyway, he asks, how do I cut my expenses without laying people off? So he asked more of a direct business question that I think is an overwhelming question right now. A lot of people are asking it. So I just wanted to, I did a little bit of research for this one. So, and Laurie and I are going to talk a little bit about this in a sec, but everything is just changing on a daily basis, right? So they just signed the bill for the relief package, and part of the package is small business loans. So there are small business loans available as part of the economic stimulus package, and the details of this these loans, which act more like grants because you can defer the payment, and it looks like there may be even forgiveness coming. That's something that we heard. I heard last night on the news, and as I'm reading an article in Forbes magazine, it is not confirming that. But the article was written 2 days ago, and the news was yesterday. So it's really, really difficult for us to try to get real good, solid information. But long story short, if you own a small business and you need to keep yourself afloat, apply for one of these small business loans to keep yourself going. And just to read a couple of details about it directly from the article on Forbes.com, the loan is forgivable, meaning it doesn't have to be paid back during what is called a covered period. This period is 8 weeks, chosen by the small business owner and the lending agency between February 15th and June 30th. The total amount of this forgivable loan, which is more akin to a grant, is 2.5 times the business's monthly operating costs. So there's a lot of money available if you're really wondering how you're going to keep your business afloat. If you own a hair salon, if you own a dog walking business where you have a brick and mortar, if you own a photography business and all of your events just got canceled, please look into these loans.
Event planners. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel as though, and this is just my gut feeling, is that a lot of this money is probably going to be forgiven, or you can, pay it back when you can, kind of is what it's looking to be. And lastly, Senator Marco Rubio, who seems to be heading this effort, said our best guess is that by 2 weeks it will be up and running. So there is a little bit of a time between now and when all the details are going to be ironed out. So that's why, I'm saying I'm reading this from a reputable source. I was watching Channel 5 News last night and I got 2 conflicting pieces of information. So if you own a small business, please keep your finger on the pulse of this, because it is changing and it is most likely going to help you keep your doors open during this time, because I know how devastating it has been for so many of you guys out there. So please keep your head up. I have never been one for big government, but I think in this situation, it is imperative to so many of us who own our own businesses and make our own make our own money for ourselves. And this is one of the few times where if you're self-employed, you're eligible for the unemployment benefits that are actually going to help you out. So if you're self-employed and you file taxes as you should and claim your income as you should, filing for unemployment is also going to be an important piece of this puzzle to keep yourself going. Because I think the biggest X variable here is we just don't know how long this is going to last. So keep yourself educated, read, and get your news from reputable sources. But thank you, Patrick, for the question. All right, we're going to move on to our next question, number 7 from N. Forsyth. It is spring planting season. What plants are toxic to dogs?
Okay. So we did the most popular that are around. So many of them are. Only 2 are non-toxic. So I'll just Forsythia and
Forsythia is a nice yellow flower bushes that are about to explode right now.
And spring crocus. And there's 2 types of crocuses I found out in my free time of reading. There's the autumn and spring crocus. So the autumn crocus is very toxic to dogs. The spring one is not. Other toxic plants are tulips, daffodils, hyacinth, azalea, and peonies. And specifically the bulbs of tulips and daffodils are toxic to dogs. One that has some scarier side effects is the azalea, because not all of these plants that are toxic cause tons of GI distress, the usual drooling, irritating of the mouth, vomiting, diarrhea, but the azalea causes seizures and tremors as well. So that one seemed like the scariest one to me, but it really seems like all the spring flowers are, you have to watch your dogs around them. So
yeah, and it seems like to me
you're the flower girl here.
Well, I also have the dog that eats everything off the ground, so I have to be more careful. I think some dogs just don't care about vegetation. Ruben, it's
Diggers.
almost like a displacement thing where he'll be feverishly running around and then all of a sudden stop to chew on something. And azalea,
he'll stop and rip a stick off.
yeah, it's just weird. But azalea is more like a woody bush. So, if you're trimming your bushes, let's say, and
it's so
trim the bushes.
childish people we are. That's fine.
So if you trim your bushes and you have a bunch of sticks laying there, clean them up, because if you have a dog like mine, they're going to run over and start flossing with them. So be diligent about that. If you have a digger, bulbs are planted obviously in the ground 5 to 6 inches deep. And we know that if you have a really avid digger, that could be
pull it right
just
up.
a few seconds of hard work.
Yep. The golden retriever across the way.
Yeah. So
he tore up the whole irrigation system.
Oh yeah. Our neighbor's dog within an hour, not even. I mean, it's incredible,
And all the light fixtures. So he tore all the wiring out for the outdoor lighting.
Yeah.
So watch your dog.
Yeah. Watch your dog. Watch those plants. We're not going to talk about house plants. But spring season comes along, everything is about to pop right now. So if you have a dog that just likes to put everything in their mouth, keep an eye on that. The best medicine for avoiding these types of problems is just watch your dog, right? So
and clean up.
Clean up and watch your dog. Most dogs, unless they're super reliable, maybe a little bit older, if they're left out in a yard for any length of time, they're going to busy themselves. So you have to be present. There's really no quick, easy fix to that. You just have to be watching them. So now you have time to do it. So no excuses.
Can I add something to the yard?
Yeah.
One of my customers said that her dog had was irritated under his neck. So dogs are obviously everyone's home. The dog is usually in the house, but everyone has electric fences now, and they have the electric collar on that has those nodes on them, you'd call it.
They're more like spikes.
So
those electric fence collars are serious.
So make sure that you're giving your dog enough time to air out their neck. Don't leave them outside. Of course, if it's raining, take the collar off so that their neck can dry. They might be wearing the collar more than usual because they're hanging out in the yard with you guys, because what else are we all doing? We're doing yard work. If you have time and you want some fresh air, it's another way to get your dog out there. So make sure, guys, when it's wet out, make sure you're grooming and brushing your dogs out too, just because some groomers are actually closed down at this time. So brush them out, clean them up, take the collars off, let their neck air out. Keep it real out in the yard. Don't let them develop bad behaviors. Keep them within a 5-foot distance of you so they're not counter surfing. That's another thing that's happening. Some newly developed behaviors are you're not watching your dog because you're on Netflix in the other room watching that terrible new show that everyone loves. What is it?
The Tiger King.
Oh,
man,
God.
I was disappointed. I thought that was going to be like murder mystery, like a lot more riveting than it was.
No, it was like a lot of mullets.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think that it's very interesting.
So don't let your dog slide across the counter while you're watching the Tiger Guy.
The Tiger Guy.
Yeah, don't.
I've never been more thankful that a documentary series did not bring up dogs once.
Oh yeah,
they did not.
All about cats,
about dogs or domesticated animal training at all, and I was like so thankful because it would be a real shame if like nobody was using dog services and then this documentary series came out about how like messed up dog people were, and I don't think that they are, but I'm just glad that they didn't.
I mean, we're strange.
Yeah, we're strange,
but we're
sure,
not
but
like
not
tiger fella.
Oh my gosh, yeah, multiple.
I mean, we
wives.
might have a mullet by the end of this.
Basically,
if our hairdresser never opens up again.
I know.
Those are beautiful, wonderful hairstylists of the world. There are people I appreciate.
You guys.
We miss you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, totally. I do think the Tiger King is worth the watch just because it's not that much of a time commitment, and it's eye opening. You know, there are a lot of very interesting people in the world that I'm glad I've never met.
Yeah. Take home. Maybe don't own a bunch of tigers.
Yeah, I mean,
causes problems.
Yeah, and I also just kind of wanted to say this is that, you know, PETA is against animal ownership. I think that was also a good takeaway from the movie and what they were kind of talking about. However, these animals are just, it's incredible to me that there are more lions and tigers domesticated than even exist in the wild. I mean, they're not domesticated, but in captivity. You know, I'm reading a book right now that Meredith lent me, and it's just talking about how the dog became the dog. It's literally the title of the book. And it's been like thousands and thousands of years of, you know, domesticating dogs. And it's like, these animals that they're talking about they're wild animals, and like, great, they take them away from their mother at such a little tiny age that they don't have a chance to bond with the mother and they can bond with humans. Like, that's their technique for domestication, like, basically. And it's, you know, definitely putting your hand in the fire there. So lots of takeaways, but you know, and entertaining and well filmed too. I felt like
I don't know, I couldn't watch it after a while,
but I feel like whoever filmed it like really took their time to like make the colors like make something crappy look like acceptable. No,
I don't know. My takeaway is keep your dog within 5 feet of you so that they're not spacing out in the kitchen and deciding how to cook a roast beef while you're watching TV. Come on.
All right. So lastly, I want to talk about small dog businesses, where we're at right now. Laurie and I both closed, and there is a line in the document that the state of Massachusetts put out last week that says organizations and workers responsible for the care and custody of animals, pets, and livestock are considered essential workers. So from our perspective, that put us in a really difficult situation. And I am in multiple, I will call them networks. I am on an email chain for local dog walkers. I'm in a couple of Facebook groups for local business owners that are dog handlers. And it's really been a mixed bag of people that are continuing to work, and those that are, that closed. And it's a mix between people that have brick and mortar places and people that are just walkers and such. But, the line says organizations and workers. So what does that mean? Does that mean, organizations like, .org, like rescues, places that are providing care like, veterinarians, things of that nature. It was, it's really difficult because all of my clients are home right now. I have like 2 people that are considered emergency, and one of them is working from home and the other doesn't really need any type of consistent care. So it's like, basically I'm showing up to these people's houses to walk their dogs and they're all home, and like, they just feel bad because I'm in the same situation as everybody else. And it's like,
the decision was made for us, really.
Yeah. But like, people are still out there, they're walking and they're putting it up on their social media like, we're essential. I'm like, dude, you're not essential. The owners are home. They don't need you. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really been difficult to rationalize. Like, do I bother opening their door and touching their stuff, touching the leash, touching the dog? Like, am I really doing my due diligence by social distancing if I don't even need to freaking be here?
And near us, some of our customers there were confirmed cases of the coronavirus, and they were associated. School. Yeah. I mean, you really just want to keep people safe. And that's, of course, like our vets, so grateful for them. They change their hours. They change their protocol for when they take dogs in. I know the vet we go to and love in Billerica, Mass, Middlesex County Animal Hospital. Yeah, shout out to them.
Love Middlesex County.
Yep, I love them, and they're still taking care of dogs. I know some vets have considered their way of handling was to send to a 24-hour emergency hospital. Everyone can do what they want, but I think it's awesome that my vet still stayed open and is still helping. Because we all know that the emergency price is a lot different than your regular vet price. So
right, it's a huge financial burden, and and we're in the dog business, so I think sometimes we forget, like, there are stables of horses that might have 30 horses, like, and one person can't take care of all of them. Like, they need to stay alive during that time. They need to be cared for. The same is true for any type of. Even I'm thinking about Myopia Hunt Club up in Ipswich. Like, they have 30 or 40 dogs, like, as part of their pack of hounds that hunt. Like, they need care. It's different than
all the shelters. Like, they're so vital. Talk about being essential. I mean, they're there to take care of them. People who are raising dogs for, like
therapy work
or for the army or police dogs, like, they need to be in the building to be taking care and training these dogs. Like, that need is still there.
Right. So yeah, I think
no people interaction.
Right.
It's just you and the animals.
Yeah, seriously. Unless you work with somebody, and if they're, if you're all essential,
change shifts,
keeping a bunch of horses alive or livestock or, farm animals, things of that nature. It is essential. And unfortunately, what we do is not essential at this point. And I think that was something that, I had to really wrap my mind around. And it's been a tough week, because it's like, okay, you work, for so many years building up your business to suddenly have it kind of be taken away by something out of your control. And there's a lot going on. And, but I think for safety's sake, we just decided, because we had the conversation too, like, do we do private classes? And it's like, I can't not take the leash at sometimes or demonstrate or whatever. It's like, I'm not going to be able to give the same level of instruction while respecting social distancing with a customer that needs help training their puppy. It's just not going to happen.
My last private class, it was outside, and it was a little was a little chilly out, and I was just, I didn't want to go inside. I don't want to, perfectly nice people. And I'm like, I just don't know how many germs I want to introduce, or, I was sanitizing my hand every 2 seconds. You can only take so many layers of skin off, and then I said, I'm not going to be able to do it. We're constantly touching leashes. Constantly. I had somebody call me for a home visit right when the alarms were going off. He was like, well, why won't you come? I'm, no way. I don't even know you.
Right.
I'm
Your
like a
house.
clean freak. Yeah, like I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I could walk in there and I could need a hazmat suit. I just can't. So that was the other thought in my head. But
yeah, it's really rough. I mean, it's just everybody's in the same boat. And
we can still answer questions, though.
Yeah, we can answer questions and talk. I mean, I've been talking to my customers pretty much every day. And a shout out to people that are continuing because they need to and because they feel like they can. And, I'm not taking that away from anybody. I think that, there are rules that are written down. And I think the way that everybody is choosing to interpret is up to you. And I think that for us, it was just very clear that I can't keep doing what I'm doing and, have the ethical, there are too many ethical considerations, I think, at this point. And yesterday we went out just to pick up stuff from Whole Foods and I felt like I was in the freaking Twilight Zone.
They were standing in line with gloves on and they were letting a particular amount of people in. And then you freak out after you go to the grocery store.
Yeah, I'm Lysoling the bottoms of my feet. And,
yeah.
And all this stuff is legit. They're telling you to do it. It's not like we're overreacting. So Godspeed getting rid of this virus, everybody.
But we really, we count all the good things. I swear to God, I count the good things every day.
Yep.
I didn't have... we both are the only people in our business. We didn't have all these employees that we had to take care of. So
facilities too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just unimaginable. So we're, again, very lucky and feeling very blessed to be able to, see the good. And as you said in the beginning, just paying attention to the things that are within our control. And, I have a lot of little projects going on. I do this podcast. I do a lot of stuff for music. We can spend time with our own dogs and get to things that we haven't done before. So, if anything, don't spend your whole time in front of the TV. And if you do, roll from side to side every once in a while.
Yeah, we don't want any bed sores or anything.
Are a real thing.
Yeah.
Just get up.
I think it's
put some
time.
pants
and on that happy note.
All right, guys. Thank you for all your questions. Again, Leah and Laurie Lodato, dynamic duo here, a couple hosting the show today. You're listening to Fit Pet Boston Talks. Please like and subscribe and review the podcast. And I think we're going to take questions on a weekly basis until all
Yeah,
this
just hit
is
us
over.
up,
Hit
guys.
us up. Yeah. You can listen to us while you're doing your walk, while you're working out, while you're doing your yard work. And peace out, everybody. Be good to one another.
Bye. Thank you.